I sat there stunned, unable to comprehend the words that had just left the mouth of my wife of 3 years. Say that again, I said slowly, knowing what I heard but hoping somehow I was wrong.
I need to spend a weekend with my ex for closure.
Lily, my wife, stated nonchalantly. Your ex? I spat out. The same ex that cheated on you, stole from your company, then tried to destroy your reputation when you caught him. That ex? My anger rising with every word.
Yes.
She said, calm, rehearsed.
That ex.
Closure, I repeated, rolling the word around like it might taste different the second time. You want closure with a man who attempted to burn your life to the ground. She looked at me, really looked. Not apologetic, not guilty, just tired.
You don't understand.
I don't understand. I repeated slowly. What part exactly? The fact that I just now discover you have been spending the last month with him behind my back, lying to me about where you were all that time, or that now you need to go sleep with him to get some form of closure. She flinched at the word sleep.
I didn't say that.
Lily replied, too quickly. You didn't have to, I said. My voice was low now, dangerous in the way calm gets when it's done pretending. You don't spend a month secretly meeting an ex, and then ask your husband for a weekend for closure if you're planning on drinking tea and discussing feelings. She looked at me, really looked, as though searching my face for something she couldn't quite find.
I know how it sounds.
Do you? I asked sharply. Because you're saying it like you're ordering groceries. She frowned, shook her head once, then squared her shoulders.
I need to do it.
You need to? My anger rose as I struggled to control my voice.
Yes.
She said immediately, then quieter.
I can't explain it. I just know if I don't go, something stays unfinished.
I stared at her. Unfinished? Lily, you cut him out of your life. You told me you were done.
I thought I was.
She said. Her voice wavered. And your solution is to disappear for a weekend with him? My voice rose despite myself.
Yes.
She admitted. How long have you been sleeping with him? I demanded, dreading the answer.
We haven't. You have to believe me.
Lily pleaded. You expect me to believe that? I said suspiciously. You have lied to me for nearly a month. I can't believe anything you say anymore. Her eyes filled with tears.
I don't want to hurt you.
You already have, I said. You are choosing him over us, and I will not play this game with you. If you go to him, our marriage is over. It may already be too late, but if you stop this now, we can try to put together what we have left. I can't easily throw away the time we have had together. She shook her head, small and resolute.
I can't.
Why? I asked simply, wondering who this person was sitting across the table from me. She searched for an answer and came up empty.
I don't know why.
She whispered. So that's it, I said. You are throwing everything away and you don't even know why. I stood, my legs steady even as everything inside me splintered. She stood too, reaching for me, then stopping halfway as if an invisible line held her back.
Please try to understand.
I don't. I shook my head, and probably never will. But if you walk out that door, do not bother ever coming back. Her eyes widened.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that whatever this weekend gives you, I replied, it takes us with it.
That's not fair.
She said faintly. Neither is this. I answered and walked away, leaving her standing, tears streaking her cheeks. I locked myself in the home office and could hear her packing a bag. An hour later, the front door opened, closed, and the sound of her car departing a minute later. I have no idea how much time passed before I could move. The house was quiet, tomb-like, mourning the loss of my marriage. Sleep was fleeting, and in the morning I found that Lily had not returned. I had stated that she not ever come back, but had maintained a forlorn hope that she might come to her senses and not throw our relationship away. The light of the new day streamed into the windows, but brought no comfort. I felt an exhaustion that left me worn and hollow. I sat in a numb silence when the ringtone of my phone jarred me back to my harsh reality. Yes, is all I could manage as a greeting as I swiped the phone to answer.
John.
The feminine voice asked. I recognized the voice as Holly, Lily's older sister. Apparently, their parents had a penchant for naming their girls after flowers. What do you want, Holly? I responded brusquely, making it clear I was in no mood to talk.
Lily is here with me, John. She told me everything, and although I am disappointed in her decisions, you need to know she didn't go through with her plans last night.
She went quiet, and when I did not answer right away, she continued.
She came over here saying you told her not to come back to the house, but after asking for more details, Lily confessed everything.
I closed my eyes and leaned my forehead against my hand, elbow on the table. She didn't go through with it. I repeated flatly. That's supposed to mean something? Holly exhaled slowly on the other end of the line.
John, she came to me instead. She broke down. She says she realized she couldn't do it.
She only realized it after she packed a bag, I said quietly. After she chose him. After she walked out.
That's not how she sees it.
Holly stated defensively. I know, I replied. That's the problem. Lily never sees the damage until she's standing in the wreckage. There was silence. Not awkward, but heavy.
She says she still loves you.
Holly offered carefully. I gave a short, humorless laugh. Love isn't the issue. Trust is. Respect is. And she burned those to ash.
She made a mistake.
Holly started. I cut her off. Stop. I have no interest in hearing all the cheater tropes. It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. It was just sex. I mimicked in a harsh voice. Holly didn't interrupt. I suspected she knew better. She looked me in the eye, I continued, and told me she needed another man more than she needed our marriage. I don't know how to come back from that. I don't even know how I'd want to.
She's asking if she can come home.
There is no home, I said. Not for her. Not with me, I said coldly. Not anymore.
John.
Holly pleaded. I meant what I said. I cut in, not harshly, just final. If she walked out, it was over. I won't live the rest of my life wondering when she needs closure again. Holly's voice softened.
She's devastated.
So am I. The difference is, I didn't choose this, I replied. Holly inhaled sharply.
You're really done.
Yes, I said. And for the first time since the night before, the word felt true. I'm done.
I'll tell her.
Holly whispered. You do that. I ended the call and stared at the dark phone screen for a long moment before setting it down. The house was still quiet. But this time, it felt less like mourning and more like an ending. The next day arrived without ceremony. I woke early, not rested, just finished with sleep. Daylight filled the house and made it feel less haunted, more transactional, like a place already halfway to being someone else's memory. I showered, dressed, and for the first time since Lily left, made a decision that wasn't fueled by emotion. At 9 sharp, I walked into a small law office a couple of miles from the house, the attorney's name etched neatly into the glass door, one I'd searched for the night before. The consultation was efficient, almost merciful. The lawyer, Sarah Forrester, listened without judgment while I laid out the facts. 3 years married, no children, both of us employed, similar incomes, joint assets, nothing exotic or dramatic that would complicate things.
This is a no-fault divorce,
She said plainly.
which means the court doesn't consider why the marriage ended, only that it did.
I nodded, letting that settle.
In cases like yours,
She continued.
it's usually straightforward. Marital property is split evenly 50-50. House equity, savings, retirement contributions made during the marriage. No spousal support if both parties earn roughly the same and neither is financially disadvantaged.
She paused.
So no one gets punished.
I didn't return the smile, because it didn't feel like that to me. It felt like I was the one paying for choices I didn't make, splitting a life I tried to protect, while the law shrugged and called it fairness. Then why does it feel that I am? She gave a small, professional smile.
I understand your feelings, Mr. Bennett. I see the damage adultery and infidelity cause and the lasting effects they have. All I can offer here is a straightforward dissolution with little complication.
Sarah paused to slide papers across the desk toward me.
The only obstacle is if your wife contests and tries to drag this out. However, doing so just prolongs the agony and causes the costs to soar. Good for me, not so much for the petitioner and respondent.
I understand, I said simply, still trying to wrap my mind around everything. For the next 15 minutes, Sarah Forrester explained assets, accounts, timelines, procedures, and finances, as well as the possibility of mediation instead of court if both sides cooperated. When I left, I didn't feel relief, but I did feel clarity. It seems our marriage wouldn't end in flames or dramatic confessions. Just the cold, slow efficiency of an even split. And somehow, that felt like the final insult. The week that followed was quiet in the most exhausting way. Not peaceful, just empty. I went to work. I came home. I ate because my body required it. Slept because eventually it forced me to. Everything moved forward on momentum alone, like a machine that hadn't yet realized it was broken. Lily texted, "Can we talk? Please." I stared at it longer than I should have before setting the phone face down on the table. I didn't delete it. I didn't reply. I let it sit there, unread by intent, unanswered by choice. The next day, there was a voicemail. Her voice sounded smaller than I remembered, careful, as if volume alone might cause more damage.
John, I just want to explain. I know I hurt you. I didn't go through with it. I swear. Please, just call me.
I listened once. Never again. She wanted credit for stopping. Holly texted once. Short. Respectful. She's not doing well. I won't push. Just thought you should know. I ignored that one too. By Friday, the attempt slowed. Either she was running out of words, or hope. Maybe both. For the first time since she walked out, I felt something close to steady. The call came just after dusk. I was working in my home office, staring at the screen, when my phone buzzed against the desk, startling me. I almost ignored it out of habit, another number I didn't want to see, but the name stopped me short. Sarah Forrester. I immediately picked up, expecting an update on the divorce filing.
John.
She blurted out before I could get out a greeting, her voice measured, professional, and urgent.
I'm calling because something has happened that directly affects your divorce proceedings. I need you to listen carefully.
A familiar tightness settled in my chest. What happened? There was a pause. Brief. Deliberate.
Your wife has been arrested.
Sarah said.
She's currently in custody.
I closed my eyes. For what?
For homicide.
She stated. I was getting frustrated at the slow drip of information. Just tell me what's going on. I clipped, aggravation in my voice.
Okay.
Sarah relented.
Allegedly, Lily Bennett shot and killed Nathan Pierce in his apartment earlier this morning after a confrontation of some sort.
I sat in numbed silence for what seemed forever, my mind racing for explanation. I exhaled slowly. What does this mean for me? I asked. It felt like the only safe question.
That's why I'm calling.
Sarah said.
You need to have no contact with Lily, direct or indirect. If she attempts to reach you, do not respond. If anyone contacts you on her behalf, refer them to counsel.
I already wasn't speaking to her, I said quietly.
Good.
She replied.
Second, the divorce shifts into a different posture. Property division may be delayed. Certain assets could be frozen depending on how this develops. You are not a suspect, but that doesn't mean you should speak to anyone without representation.
So what happens now? I asked tentatively.
You wait. Her arraignment is Monday. Then we can proceed accordingly.
Sarah was quiet for a moment.
Any other questions?
No, I said. I can't help her, and I won't hurt myself trying. Another silence.
That's a reasonable position. Just go about your life as normal as possible, and I will keep you updated as needed.
When the call ended, I stayed where I was, phone still in my hand long after the line went dead. The house went silent again as I sat there trying vainly to grasp the events of the last week. I stared at my phone for a long time before dialing Holly's number. Sarah's words echoed in my head. No contact, protect yourself. But Holly wasn't Lily, and I needed to understand what kind of night could end with a man dead. She answered on the second ring.
John.
She said quietly, not surprised, like she'd been waiting. I need you to tell me what happened, I said. Not speculation, not what you think it means, just what you know. Holly paused for a moment, collecting her thoughts.
She has been staying here since she left that night. She has not been doing well, spiraling into depression. This morning something changed, and she told me she needed to confront Nathan. I had no idea of what she was going to do. That's all I know.
Lily hadn't gone looking for closure. She'd gone looking for a reckoning, I thought to myself. Thank you, I said finally.
I'm sorry.
Holly replied.
For everything.
I said nothing and hung up, staring at the dark screen of my phone. All I could do was sit there and shake my head. The rest of the day and the weekend blurred together in a way that felt both endless and hollow. I moved through Saturday and Sunday on autopilot. while the same thought kept circling back. Lily was in jail, not as an idea, but as a physical fact, concrete in bars and waiting. I slept in fragments, woke with my heart racing, and spent too much time staring at my phone. Anger flared and died just as quickly. At her, at Nathan, at myself, leaving behind a dull grief that settled into my bones. By Sunday evening, with Monday's arraignment looming, the only certainty I could grasp was that whatever had happened in Nathan Pierce's apartment, whatever Lily had done or been driven to, there was no version of this story where I walked away unchanged. Monday morning shattered whatever fragile order I'd managed to build over the weekend when my phone rang, and I saw Sarah Forrester's name again.
John.
Sarah said the moment I answered. No greeting. No buffer. What is it? I asked, already sitting up.
Lily is gone.
Her voice was tight in a way I'd never heard before. I frowned. What do you mean, gone?
Not deceased.
Sarah said quickly.
Not released. She was in custody late last night. Sometime between lights out and this morning, she was no longer there.
I swung my legs off the bed. You're saying she escaped?
I'm saying there is no official record of a transfer, no release order, and no incident report that accounts for her absence.
She hesitated.
Or if there is, no one is saying anything.
That makes no sense, I said. People don't just disappear from jail.
They don't.
Sarah agreed.
Which is why no one is talking.
Who knows? I asked.
Very few people.
She said.
And none of them are returning calls. The arraignment is obviously not happening.
Is she a fugitive? I asked.
There is no warrant.
Sarah said carefully.
At least not yet.
I rubbed my face with my hand. So what am I supposed to do?
You do nothing.
She said firmly.
You don't ask questions, you don't call anyone, and you do not go looking for her. If Lily contacts you, if anyone, and I mean anyone,
She emphasized.
contacts you, you call me first.
Okay, I said simply. The line went dead, and I sat there holding the phone, trying to understand how a woman could vanish overnight, and why the people paid to explain it were suddenly afraid to speak. Less than half an hour later, my phone buzzed again. I saw Sarah's name and answered before thinking.
John, you need to come to my office immediately.
She said, her voice sharp and urgent.
There's new information about Lily. Don't try to process it over the phone. Just come.
What kind of information? I asked, fumbling for my jacket.
No time to explain. Just get here now.
She snapped, and I barely had a chance to respond when a loud, authoritative knock erupted from my front door. Still on the phone, I opened the door, finding 2 FBI men standing there.
Are you John Bennett?
I nodded numbly, still holding the phone to my ear. Sarah, the FBI are here.
I know.
Sarah replied.
They're here as well. Listen carefully, go with them and I will meet you later.
I understand. Then to the agents. Okay then, after you. I followed them to their typical unmarked black SUV and wondered what the hell I had gotten involved in. The drive was short, ending at a secure federal building in the downtown area. The SUV entered into an underground parking area, and from there I was escorted through a maze of hallways into a conference room that required a badge to enter. Inside, Sarah Forrester was already there and waiting. What is going on here? I approached her, looking for answers. She shook her head.
I have no idea, but the FBI instructed that you be here and by extension me as well.
In the room, besides myself and Sarah, there were 2 men and 2 women. Margaret Harlan, a woman in her late 50s with sharp eyes and impeccably dressed, introduced herself as the district attorney and asked everyone to be seated. The other woman was Dr. Elaine Foster, a representative from the CDC, and the men were Special Agent Daniel Cross from the FBI, in charge of the current investigation, and Dr. Adrian Keller, the department head of research and development of the Oryx Corporation. After introductions were made and all were seated at the long conference table, 2 pieces of paper were put in front of me. Harlan asked,
Are there any questions before we start?
I raised my hand slightly, and she nodded. Why am I here? I asked. And what exactly are these documents you're asking me to sign? FBI Agent Cross spoke up to answer.
Mr. Bennett, the first document is a Classified Information Non-Disclosure Agreement, or CINDA. The second is a Security Read-in Acknowledgement. By signing them, you agree that anything discussed in this room remains classified and does not leave it, under penalty of federal prosecution.
He paused, letting that land.
If you choose not to sign, you will be escorted out immediately. That said, we are requesting your cooperation, and if you remain, the reasons for that will be explained.
I nodded and signed the documents while an assistant gathered them up and quickly left the room. Harlan spoke again.
Now then, Dr. Keller, why don't you lead off and start at the beginning, for the sake of our guests?
She gestured towards Sarah and myself. Without preamble, Dr. Keller began.
5 years ago, Nathan Pierce and Lily Daw, now Bennett, headed up a team to develop a new compound for a government contract, during which time Mrs. Bennett discovered that Pierce was stealing resources and conducting experiments in an off-site lab he set up without authorization. Lily immediately reported the incident, and he was terminated after an investigation.
FBI agent Cross interjected.
They were involved in a personal relationship at the time, correct?
Yes.
Keller replied.
OREX has no policy prohibiting relationships between peers, provided professional standards are maintained. That said, it was also during this period that Lily learned Pierce had been unfaithful. She ended the relationship and moved out shortly thereafter.
I sat quietly, absorbing the information. I had known about her breakup with Nathan Pierce, but not that it had cost him his career. Dr. Keller resumed.
After Pierce's death, searches were executed on his residence and an off-site laboratory located in a rented storage unit. There, evidence was found that Pierce had developed a new compound and formulated a plan to test it, specifically targeting Lily Bennett, whom he blamed for both the loss of his position and the end of their relationship.
What do you mean, targeted? I asked, leaning forward.
In Pierce's off-site lab, investigators recovered detailed lab notebooks, electronic logs, and chemical samples indicating he had synthesized a novel compound, a truth agent, engineered for slow, incremental administration.
He paused, looking through his notes.
The records showed precise dosing schedules designed to influence cognition and emotional responses over time, effectively making the subject increasingly suggestible. Cross-referenced communications and personal notes demonstrated that Pierce intended to use this agent specifically on Lily Bennett, manipulating her judgment and emotional state in order to destabilize her marriage and provoke personal and professional consequences that he believed would exact revenge for his termination and the end of their relationship.
Dr. Foster of the CDC spoke for the first time.
This particular compound is something we have never seen before, and all samples have been taken to a special lab within OREX to be examined and studied by a special research team.
I sat completely stunned by these revelations. So let me get this straight, since I'm the layman in this room. Pierce creates a new truth serum and decides to test it on my wife in a complex revenge plot to get her back for the loss of his job and exposing his cheating.
Yes.
Agent Cross said simply. I have an issue with this narrative. I pushed back. How does a truth serum or agent cause someone to blow up their marriage?
In reality, there is no such thing as a true truth serum. What exists are compounds that suppress inhibitory control and heighten suggestibility. Administered in small doses over time, the subject may appear functional while experiencing impaired judgment, emotional volatility, and reduced resistance to external influence. The effect is comparable to intoxication, lowered restraint without loss of consciousness.
Dr. Keller lectured, as if in front of a class. I was rubbing my temples at this point, trying to grasp the magnitude of the information. So you were saying that he found a way to dose Lily without her knowing and then, when enough of it was in her system, set about coercing her to cheat on me?
To put it simply, yes.
Foster replied. How? I asked. If what you say is true and she was coerced, she would have never let him close enough to even share a drink with him. Agent Cross scanned his notes briefly.
It appears Pierce had an accomplice, a young barista who worked in a coffee shop your wife frequented every morning. She was arrested and confessed that she got paid to put a couple drops every day into her morning drinks.
D.A. Harlan spoke again, having remained silent since the introductions.
Mr. Bennett, your wife has been removed from custody and transferred to a private medical facility where she can be monitored for residual effects and any long-term complications resulting from exposure to this compound.
I leaned back in my chair, scanning the faces around the table. No one looked uncertain. No one looked surprised. I still don't understand why I'm here, I said, glancing at Sarah. She offered a small, helpless shrug. Harlan continued, her tone measured.
After reviewing the totality of the evidence, the state is formally dismissing all charges against Mrs. Bennett. The findings indicate she was operating under significant chemical influence at the time of the incident. In light of that, we have determined she should be regarded as a victim of deliberate manipulation.
She paused before choosing her next words carefully.
We are also aware that divorce proceedings have been initiated. While that is, of course, a private matter, we believe stability in her immediate environment will be critical during recovery. Her treatment will address physiological effects, but reintegration will require support. Your support.
Agent Cross folded his hands on the table.
Mr. Bennett, Pierce intended to destabilize her judgment, her emotions, and ultimately her marriage. Undoing that damage will take time. Whether you choose to remain involved is up to you. But you deserve to understand the full context before making that decision.
I hesitated before responding. So when Lily said to me that nothing had happened between them, at least physically, she was still under the influence and was telling me the truth? Keller spoke up, answering.
I would cautiously say that is the most likely scenario, but I will be honest here. We do not know what this compound is or does outside of the notes we have seized, and I'm not one to take Pierce at his word. My expertise, however, tells me that her responses were truthful.
And the murder? You state that she was open to persuasion. So who made the suggestion that it would be a good idea to put a bullet in him? Keller continued.
To use a simplified analogy, intoxication does not require external direction for impaired decisions to occur. Under reduced inhibition, individuals can generate their own destructive reasoning. In this case, prolonged exposure to the compound likely amplified pre-existing stressors, fear of losing her marriage, potential professional consequences, and heightened her emotional responses. The resulting actions may have felt internally justified to her at the time, even if they would not have under normal cognitive conditions.
And there is one other thing to consider.
Agent Cross interjected.
You already know Nathan Pierce cheated on Lily, but what you may not know is that the woman whom he cheated with is serving time in jail, attacking him after finding out about Lily, and leaving him crippled to where it is physically impossible for him to engage in any kind of sexual intercourse.
So what do you need from me? I asked. D.A. Harlan spoke again.
We would like you to go to her and be the one to tell her what is happening. The ulterior motive, of course, is that the powers in charge would like her to lead a team to study this new compound since she is the most qualified and has a unique perspective.
I sat there, completely overwhelmed with all this, and just nodded. The meeting adjourned without ceremony. Agent Cross escorted me out of the building and drove Keller, Foster, and myself to Oryx, where I was escorted down a corridor and into a secured elevator to a restricted medical wing housed within the research complex. The air smelled faintly of antiseptic and filtered ventilation. Security badges were checked twice before we were allowed through. Lily lay in a hospital bed in a private observation room, monitors quietly tracking her vitals. She looked smaller than I remembered, pale, fragile in a way that didn't match the woman I knew. An IV line ran from her arm to a clear bag suspended beside her, and faint bruising marked the inside of her elbow where blood had been drawn. Her eyes were open when I stepped inside. For a moment, she just stared at me, as if trying to place me in a memory that wouldn't quite settle. Then something in her expression shifted, recognition, followed by shame.
John,
She whispered.
please forgive me.
And for the first time since Nathan Pierce's death, I didn't see a defendant, or a suspect, or a stranger caught in something monstrous. I saw my wife. I pulled my chair closer to her bed and wrapped my hand around hers, feeling how cold and fragile it seemed compared to the warmth I remembered. For a moment, I couldn't speak. Then I told her everything. About the federal building, the guarded elevators, the long conference table where her name had been spoken like evidence instead of accusation. I told her about the documents I'd signed so they would let me hear the truth, about the lab they found in a storage unit, about Pierce's notebooks and the meticulous dosing schedules that proved this had been deliberate, calculated, and patient. I explained how they had traced the compound back to him, how it was designed not to control her outright, but to erode her inhibition slowly, to amplify fear and resentment. to make doubt feel rational and anger feel justified. I watched her eyes as I said it. How none of it surprised her as much as it should have. I told her the charges were gone, dropped, that the state no longer viewed her as a criminal, but as someone targeted and manipulated, that she was here not as a prisoner, but as a patient, being monitored for lingering neurological effects. The CDC would track her recovery. OREX would oversee treatment. The FBI wanted her cooperation, her memories, her impressions, any detail that might help them understand the full extent of what had been done to her. They needed her testimony to close the loop Pierce had tried to leave open. Then I told her the part that mattered most to me. They knew about the divorce. They believed Pierce's ultimate revenge had been to dismantle our marriage from the inside, to make her doubt us, to make her restless and reckless, to make her walk away so he could watch everything collapse. I swallowed hard before I said the next words. I was angry, I admitted. I thought you chose it. I thought you chose